Hey guys, こんにちは、Japanese Amo の Misa です。A lot of people asked me what my language learning tips are and how I learned English. So today I'm going to give you my 11 study tips that I use to learn English, so you can use them to learn Japanese too. I hope it helps. 1番目, the first one. Keep a notebook that you treasure.My biggest Japanese learning tip is to have a dedicated notebook for every new thing you learned. This is what I did when I was learning English. I wrote new vocabulary in the front of the notebook and flipped it over and wrote new grammar concepts in the back. I took this notebook with me everywhere. When commuting to school, I would look through it and revise what I had already written. I was constantly reviewing, adding, and reviewing.My notebook looked like this, divided into 3 or 4 columns. One column for the new word, next column has the translation or definition, next column has a mini example sentence, and another column has the context, like who said it and when. Knowing the context of new words is super important because it will help you know when to use that word.For example, when learning English, I watched a lot of How I Met Your Mother. I learned the phrase, I nailed her from Barney. So I noted down that Barney said that to Ted in the context column. That was really important because it let me know not to use that phrase in situations like talking to a friend's parents. So yeah, get a nice notebook that you will treasure and use, and make sure you keep it with you and write in it and read it often.2番目, the second tip, make your own sentences. This is extremely important for remembering new words. When you learn a new word, if you just write it down and the definition, you'll probably forget it even if you review it. But if you stretch your brain a little and try to compose your own example sentence using that phrase, you're way more likely to remember it. When making example sentences, I would use 3 pens, black, red, and blue.I used red to write the new word in, signaling to my brain that this is the super important word in the sentence. If there were any other words that I was a bit shaky on in the sentence, I would write them in blue, signaling to my brain that I need that stored in my long-term memory. And the rest I wrote in black. So an example for Japanese might be, you want to learn the word 小説, 小説, which means novel.I would write a sentence like this. 今日は小説を読む。今日は小説を読む。So I would write 今日は in black ink because that's the easy part and I know it. I would write 小説 in red ink because that's the part of the sentence that's important for me to remember. And I would write 読む in blue ink because I'm still kind of shaky on that.And then I would reread these example sentences whenever I'm commuting to work or school or before bed, and I would try and think about and write down new words too. This is really important because it's active learning and you are way more likely to remember new words and grammar concepts if you're active. A lot of people don't like to do this, and that's because it's more work and it's harder to do this, but it's worth it.3番目, the third one. Write down your common thoughts and words. When you are just thinking to yourself, like when you're cooking, walking somewhere, or showering, remember the thoughts that keep coming up and write them down in English or your native language. And make a note of things you say often in conversation. Then when you have time, you should sit down and translate them into Japanese or try to find the Japanese equivalent.Again, this is hard and it takes some work, but if you put in the effort, you will learn how to say the common things you think and talk about. This is very valuable for language learning and a lot better than learning random phrases from a textbook that you'd never use in real life. 4番目, the fourth one. Translate the first and the last bits of a Japanese sentence.Bear with me on this explanation because once you know the mechanics of how it works, we're going to see it in action using a clip from the awesome anime Sword Art Online. You will often encounter a sentence that just doesn't make sense. You might be reading Japanese manga or website and you just can't work it out. Well, a lot of the time, if you just use this little translation trick, the meaning will become more clear. You're going to translate the first part of the sentence and then the last part of the sentence. So just say you have a big sentence like this. たけしはクリスマスにメアリーに会って一緒にレストランで食べる約束をした。たけしはクリスマスにメアリーに会って一緒にレストランで食べる約束をした。First, we are going to make this easier to read and manage it by breaking the sentence up. You're going to go on a particle hunt, and every time you find a particle after a word, like wa, ga, o, ni, de, you will make a break. So the sentence would look like this. たけしはクリスマスにメアリーに会って There is a comma, so we're gonna break again. 会って一緒にレストランで食べる約束をした。First, you translate the first word and particle. So here it's Takeshi and the wa particle. And that gives you the subject of the sentence. We are talking about Takeshi. The first word is usually subject, but in Japanese we often omit the word watashi, I, or the word you, anata, which we rarely use. It might not be a subject, but check the first subject anyway. Especially if you find the wa particle, then that's great. Next, you translate the last word. In Japanese, this is the verb. Once you have the subject and verb of the sentence, you have a pretty good idea of what's going on. In this example, the verb is 約束をした、約束をした、which is the past tense of 約束する、約束する, which means to promise. So now we know that Takeshi promised something. Now you're going backwards from the final verb and translate bit by bit. So working backwards, we have 食べる, 食べる, which means to eat. Now we know that Takeshi promised to eat. Then レストランで, so Takeshi promised to eat at the restaurant. Then 一緒に, together. Takeshi promised to eat at the restaurant together. Next, メアリーに会って to meet Mary, and this 会って comes from 会う, which means to meet, and we conjugate it into its te form 会って with more information coming after it. So now we know that Takeshi promised to meet Mary and eat together at the restaurant. And one more translation. クリスマスに at Christmas. So the full sentence, Takeshi promised to meet Mary and eat together at the restaurant at Christmas. Just a quick note about verbs. When translating a long sentence, you'll probably have several verbs. You want to translate the main verb, the one at the very end first. Verbs in the middle of long sentences often become nouns by using the no particle, like this. 踊るのは楽しい。踊るのは楽しい。Here you can't just say 踊るは楽しい to mean dancing is fun. You can't put the verb in front of any particle like は、が, or without using the no particle. Whenever you want to say speaking of verb or I like doing something, you'd have to put the no after the plain form, the dictionary form of the verb, and make a sentence. So if you want to say I like reading, you'd say 読むのが好き。読むのが好き。Also, the main verb has to be at the end, but if you find the verb in the middle of a sentence, in front of a noun, so for example, 食べている人、食べている to be eating now, 人 person. Then you'd want to translate from the noun. You'd say person who is eating or person that is eating. Or 読んだ本. 読んだ comes from 読む, which means to read, and 読んだ is the past tense, so it's like read. And then 本, book, But again, it doesn't mean I read a book, but rather it means a book that I read. Because if you wanted to say I read a book, you'd have to put the main verb at the end of a sentence. So you'd say 本を読んだ. Anyway, now let's see how we can use this translation trick when we watch Sword Art Online.
キリト君。
シェフ捕獲。
何よ。
あ、珍しいな、アスナ。こんなゴミだめに顔を出すなんて。
This scene, Kirito says, こんなゴミだめに顔を出すなんて。こんなゴミだめに顔を出すなんて. And if you read the subtitles, it says, I didn't expect you to come to a dump like this. So obviously when you are watching anime, you want to get what they are saying, so you want to read the subtitles. But even in English, try reading the first word, which is I, and then go to the end and start reading from this, like, dump, come, you didn't expect. Because the first word in Japanese, konna, means like this. So it's the last word in English. So konna, and then Kirito says gomidame. Gomidame is not such a common word, but it basically means a dump. So, konna gomidame, if you read the English sentence from the end, it works out quite well. Like this, a dump. So you know that he's saying a dump like this. And then he says kao dasu. Kao literally means face and dasu means to put out, stick out. So the literal translation is like put your face out, but it's more like to drop by. So in this case, in English, it's translated as come, which is fine. So this kind of dump, you come, kao dasu. And then the last word in Japanese is nante, which always expresses surprise or shock. So the English translation is I didn't expect. So it works out pretty well if you try yourself to read the subtitles in English from the end. Then what you hear in Japanese matches the translation and the subtitles. So let's hear this sentence again.
珍しいな、アスナ。こんなゴミだめに顔を出すなんて。
もうすぐ次のボス攻略だから生きてるか確認しに来てあげたんじゃない。
This part where Asuna talks, what she says is pretty long, but try listening to it first.
もうすぐ次のボス攻略だから生きてるか確認しに来てあげたんじゃない。
Asuna first says, もうすぐ次のボス攻略だから. So the translation in English is, it's almost time for the next boss raid. So again, you want to see the first word. It's not really a word, so you skip it and then read almost time. And read the last word of the first clause. So you don't want to read the last word, which is alive. You want to read the last word before the comma, which is next boss raid or just raid. So in this sentence in Japanese, the first word is もうすぐ, which means soon. So you could translate it like almost time. And then the next word she says is 次の, which means next. And then ボス, boss. 攻略 means like walk through, or if you say ボス攻略, it's like you want to defeat the boss. So that's like boss raid. So the first clause on its own is not too long. もうすぐ次のボス攻略だから because soon next boss raid. And then she says 生きてるか確認しに来てあげたんじゃない. So again, when you watch anime, try reading the subtitles from the end. That way you will hear the word in order. So the last word in the translation is alive. And if you hear what she says first, it's 生きてる, which means alive. 生きてる. And then you read from the end, so like still, you were, and then if, right? So if you were still alive. In Japanese, 生きてるか, this ka can act like if or whether. It doesn't just mean or question marker, but in the middle of a sentence like this, it usually means whether or if. So the word matches. Alive if 生きてるか if alive, whether alive or not. And then the next word in English is see. Japanese word is 確認し, which comes from the verb 確認する, and that means to check, to make sure. So it's kind of like to check if you were alive. And then the next word in English is came. And then you'd hear 来て, which comes from the word 来る, and that's the te form of 来る. So you know that it means come, 来て. And then the rest, it says 来てあげたんじゃない. So this is something that you didn't pick up unless you know the grammar well. This te form plus あげる means to do something for someone else. So you translate like for you. But yeah, you don't really see it in the translation because that's just adding nuance. So 来てあげた basically means came for you. And then じゃない. This again, you have to learn the grammar, but it's used when you're explaining things. And this じゃない at the end, normally it means it's not. But in this case, when you put it after a verb, it's used to complain or accuse someone. She kind of looks angry, right? It's like, I came here to check if you're alive or not, and your attitude is like that. It's kind of like that. So yeah, the last part, even if you don't get it for now, that's okay. Let's hear what she says again.
もうすぐ次のボス攻略だから生きてるか確認しに来てあげたんじゃない。
And Kirito responds to her by saying,
フレンドリストに登録してんだからそれくらいわかるだろ。
フレンドリストに登録してんだから、コマ、それくらいわかるだろう。So you'd expect that there would be two sentences in subtitles too, but they translate like, I'm on your friends list, aren't I? So that's really short translation. So this translation trick doesn't work exactly well because this translation is not exactly the same. But anyway, フレンドリスト, friend list, and then 登録してん. So this 登録してんだから, this means the same as 登録してるんだから. But this る is omitted because it's informal. Anyway, it means because I'm registered on your friends list. それくらい means such a thing. And then わかる, you'd know. だろ, right? So it's like, because I'm registered on your friends list, you'd know such a thing, right? He means you'd know if I'm alive or not. Alright, this time try reading the English translation from the end and try hearing the Japanese words. If you don't recognize any word, that's fine too, but if you're intermediate, you might pick some words. Alright.
フレンドリストに登録してんだからそれくらいわかるだろ。
生きてるならいいのよ。そんなことより何よ、シェフがどうこうって。
ああ、そうだった。今料理スキルの熟練度どの辺？
So Kirito said, 今料理スキルの熟練度どの辺? Again, if you read the translation from the end, it says right now. And what he says at the beginning is 今, which means right now. And then again, we read the translation backward from the last word. So you'd see cooking skill. And then what he says is 料理スキル, 料理スキル. So 料理 means cooking and スキル is skill, just with Japanese accent. So 料理スキル. And then back to the translation, it says around what level? In Japanese, he says 熟練度. You don't have to remember this word unless you watch lots of training stuff. But 熟練度 means proficiency level. So you can just remember it like level. Although level, we often say レベル, レベル. So he could have said 今料理スキルのレベル, but he decided to use cooler sounding word 熟練度, proficiency level. And then at the end he says どの辺? どの辺 means around where. This word is often used when you talk about a place. So if I say ミサのうちどの辺? ミサのうちどの辺? Then that means where about is your house. So 今料理スキルの熟練度どの辺? Right now, cooking skill, level, whereabouts. So again, reading from the end works. So let's listen to what he says again.
今料理スキルの熟練度どの辺？
先週コンプリートしたわ。
何？
すごいでしょ。
その腕を見込んで頼みがある。
これラグーラビット？
取引だ。こいつを料理してくれたら一口食わせてやる。
Next, Kirito says, こいつを料理してくれたら一口食わせてやる. So the translation has two clauses, right? So if you cook this for me and then comma, I'll let you have a bite. So in this kind of situation, you want to start reading from the last word of the first clause. So the last word before the comma, which is for me, and then you go backwards, and then once you're done, you go to the actual final word, which is a bite. So first it says for me and then this, right? So in this one, it's a bit hard, but he says こいつ. こいつ is kind of like これ, but it's usually used towards a living thing. So like a person or animal, and then they are talking about this rabbit meat. Anyway, こいつ, this thing or this one. So it's not exactly the word that is at the end, but it's close enough. And then 料理して, again, it's the te form of the verb 料理する, to cook. And then this te form plus くれる, in this sentence it says てくれた. It means do something for me. And this ta ra means if. So if for me you cook this. So again, it's close enough. And then you can finally look at the final word of this sentence, which is a bite. And what he says after the comma, he says 一口. And that means a bite. 一口. And go back to the translation, it says I'll let you have. And yeah, this 食わせてやる means I'll let you eat. So some people might think, oh, but I learned the verb to eat as 食べる. And it doesn't sound anything like 食べる because we have two words for to eat. The common one is 食べる and another one is 食う, which is the rough way of saying 食べる. So you'd only use this 食う in informal speech. Anyway, 食わせてやる, that's just conjugated version of 食う. Once you learn the informal negation, you see why 食う becomes 食わ. But if you haven't learned any grammar yet, you might think this is crazy. But once you learn it, it's not too hard, so don't worry. And you can watch the rest.
取引だ。こいつを料理してくれたら一口食わせてやる。
はんぶん。やった。
悪いな。ってなわけで取引中止だ。
俺たちダチだよな。な、俺にも味見くらい。
感想文を800字以内で書いてきてやるよ。
そりゃねえだろ。
Alright, we'll watch this clip one more time and again try reading the subtitles from the end to the beginning. That way, what you hear matches the translation. That is a good trick when you try learning Japanese through anime.
キリト君。
シェフ捕獲。
何よ。
あ、珍しいなアスナ。こんなゴミだめに顔を出すなんて。
もうすぐ次のボス攻略だから生きてるか確認しに来てあげたんじゃない。
フレンドリストに登録してんだからそれくらいわかるだろ。
生きてるならいいのよ。そんなことより何よ、シェフがどうこうって。
ああ、そうだった。今料理スキルの熟練度どの辺？
先週コンプリートしたわ。
何？
すごいでしょ。
その腕を見込んで頼みがある。
これラグーラビット？
取引だ。こいつを料理してくれたら 一口食わせてやる。
はんぶん。
悪いな。ってなわけで取引中止だ。
俺たちダチだよな。な、俺にも味見くらい。
感想文を800字以内で書いてきてやるよ。
そりゃねえだろ。
5番目 The fifth tip. Write a lot. If you're introverted or shy or embarrassed about making mistakes, it doesn't mean you can't be fluent in Japanese. In fact, you might even actually be able to get to a more fluent level than someone who is outgoing and extroverted. You do this by writing a lot. I was always very shy when speaking English. I was scared to speak English with natives in case I made a mistake. One thing that scared me was when I tried to say the word gallery in conversation with an American girl. It came out sounding like gallery, and she laughed and made fun of me. After that, I didn't want to speak English for a long time and was really scared about making mistakes. So what I did was I wrote a lot. I wrote loads of example sentences. I wrote little journal entries. I wrote stuff on Langate and had natives correcting my sentences. If you write a lot, something magical happens. You become more secure about speaking. If you know the grammar and vocabulary language, when you come to speak, you feel way more confident. So writing a lot really helps your eventual speaking skills. 6番目 The sixth tip. Don't worry about your accent. People compliment on how I can say R and L sounds natively, but as in the gallery example, it wasn't always like this. I did sound like a stereotypical Japanese person for a long time. Like, I have a pen, I have an apple, pineapple pen, something like that. You shouldn't worry about getting your accent perfect at the beginning. Your accent will develop over time as you learn the language more. It took me years of learning English to get to this stage. I never thought I'd be making videos in English and showing them to native speakers. I really can't believe I can sit in front of a camera and talk to you like this now. But I can, and you will be able to do the same in Japanese if you just stick with it and preserve. 7番目 The seventh tip. Do grammar drills. Athletes and soldiers have this saying, drillers are killers. That means the more times you practice something, the better you will get. Top dojo experts will practice basic hooks and throws thousands of times. They practice over and over again until they can do it perfectly intuitively. It's not necessarily fun or cool, but you need to do this with grammar too. A lot of people skip grammar because they think it's boring or they think they will pick it up just from speaking a language. But most people are more likely to advance quickly in learning a language if they just practice the grammar often. Every time you learn a new grammar concept, your learning will take a big leap forward. Students often tell me that their understanding of Japanese improved dramatically after learning the form. It might be difficult, but it's important and rewarding. 8番目 The eighth tip. Use manga to study. Manga is a great resource that will help you learn new words, put your grammar concepts to use, and get better at reading. Also, manga is just a lot of fun, so you can learn and enjoy a story at the same time. There is nothing wrong with trying to read a manga fast and just getting the gist of the story from pictures, but you should also spend time really getting closer to a manga. You need to do the hard, laborious grunt work of breaking down a manga bit by bit. It might take you a month to read the whole manga this way, with a page maybe taking more than 20 minutes, but it is worth it. You can study Japanese through manga by breaking down every single thing you don't understand. This is where your notebook and the translation trick is going to come in handy. Anything you don't understand, both vocabulary and grammar, you're going to look up. You can look things up using jisho.org and Japanese dictionary apps, tangorin.com, or just by typing in the Japanese word or grammar concept into Google, followed by the phrase Japanese meaning. And you get a bunch of sites and forums that help you. I have some recommendations for manga depending on your level. For beginners, Yotsubato is great. For intermediates, Kimi ni Todoke. And for advanced learners, Death Note is awesome. It may not be your type of story, but I also recommend you use shoujo manga like Kimi ni Todoke, Bokura ga Ita, Nana, Orange to learn Japanese, because you're more likely to learn normal, native, everyday Japanese than the stuff you find in Dragon Ball, One Piece or Naruto. Although I love Naruto, so you should definitely check it out. It's my favorite manga series. If you need some help with learning Japanese through manga, I have some exciting stuff coming out soon that will help. So be sure to sign up to my newsletter to receive a notification. 9番目, the ninth tip. Relax in Japanese. Even if your brain is hurting or you're tired from working all day, you can still relax in Japanese. I used to stay up late binge watching English TV like The In-Betweeners, Friends, and How I Met Your Mother. I watched these shows because I enjoyed them. Learning English was a nice double benefit. So find some TV that you enjoy in Japanese and chill out in the evening with it. If you like anime, I recommend you check out Sword Art Online, Steins Gate, Erased, and Full Metal Alchemist. Also, the movie Kimi no Na wa is amazing and probably my favorite movie of all time. 10番目, the 10th tip. Listen to songs when you're low in motivation. Language learners always hit periods of low motivation. You might feel like you're not progressing very fast, or you're feeling frustrated because you can't understand something or express yourself. I got these feelings a lot when I was learning English too. And the one thing that always helped me was to listen to uplifting music in English. Music has a powerful way of making you feel better and boosting your motivation. Some Japanese music recommendations include Radwimps, Glimpse Punky, Radio, and Utada Hikaru, or I personally used to really like a singer called Yuki. And there are a lot more great singers out there. If you watch anime, you probably would find your favorite song from the opening or ending. So just type in your favorite anime title and the OP or ED and you'd find the song as well, usually on YouTube. Or you can listen to some fun songs from Kyary Pamyu Pamyu, like Bom 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 Bom. And it might boost your motivation. You'd understand the lyrics easily. Basically just pom pom pom, and that's Japanese. 11番目, the 11th tip. Have fun. Remember that learning Japanese is a journey. So surround yourself with stuff that keeps you motivated, because you'll be learning for a long time. I'm still learning English. Remember why you love the language. Maybe you want to read and enjoy the entire series of Naruto in Japanese, or you love Japanese food, or you want to live in Japan. Enjoy the process and always remember why you are learning Japanese. Alright, thank you for watching this video. They were my 11 tips for learning a language. I learned English and Russian like this. Know that it's not just you who have a hard time learning a language, and I will keep making lessons so you can study with me on this channel. So thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to my channel and also my newsletter, because I sometimes send out a pop quiz to review the stuff I taught you. Okay, じゃあまたね。バイバイ。